Hello everyone, this is CORP Knight bringing you a Machine Reactor structure deck review. This is the first set of structure deck that has been released this year alongside with Dino Smashers Fury, which will make its own video review later on. We will briefly name the new cards of the structure deck that has came out to TCG and their effects in this review to understand what they can do. We will later post a deck profile on the structure deck later on this week. So let's see what we get out of this deck. So this is the paper mat that comes with the deck. They look sick. Problem is, it's paper, so it doesn't really gonna last that long as your standard rubber mats. Unless you could print it on a rubber mat, then you're good to go. Alright, so let me zoom in so you guys can see the cards. Alright, and let's go. We're gonna open it now. So the first card that came out is Ancient Gear Gadget. It's a brand new card that came out for the Ancient Gear. This is an Ancient Gear deck. It's the second deck for Ancient Gears that came out. Second structure deck, my bad. So Ancient Gear Gadget, it's a level 4 Earth Machine type monster with 500 attack and 2000 defense. And its effect is as following. If this card is normal or special summon, you can declare one card type, monster, spell, or trap. This turn, if a monster you control attacks, your opponent's spell, trap, or monster effect, whichever was declared, cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. Once per turn, you can declare one gadget monster's card name. Until the end phase, this card name becomes that monster. So, quick recap. If you use its last effect, you could call red gadget, green gadget, or yellow gadget. It's an old monster machine type monster cards that came out on, I want to say 08, 07. But it's to support a lot of the Ancient Gears, because a lot of Ancient Gears gained the effect with different colored gadgets that it was tribute with. So the next card, well, we'll get back to that on the deck profiling, but that's just a simple explanation on why the effect on the bottom was so good, or why is it so good. So for the next card is another new card, is Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. Earth level 9 machine type monster with 3000 attack and 3000 defense. And its effect is as following. If this card was tribute summoned by tributing an Ancient Gear monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. If this card is tributed by tributing a gadget monster, it can make a second attack during each battle phase. If this card attacks, your opponent's spells and trap cards and monster effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. So it got a little bit more of a boost than your regular Ancient Gear standard effects. Regular Ancient Gear effects is when they attack, you can't activate spells or trap cards during damage step. Like for example, all types of Meryl Forces, Wabakus, shrinks, and stuff like that. At the end of the damage step, if this card attacked, you can destroy one spell or trap card on the field. So we'll make a deck profile, like I said, in a couple of days with this structure deck also, and I'll explain later on how its effect would work, especially with Ancient Gear Gadget previous card. So the next card that we get is also new, so we have 3 new cards so far. And it's called Ancient Gear Hydra. Level 7 Earth Machine type monster with 2700 attack and 1700 defense. And its effect is, at the end of the damage step, when this card that was tribute summoned by tributing an Ancient Gear monster battles an opponent monster, but that opponent monster was not destroyed by battle, you can banish that opponent monsters instead. If this card was tribute summoned by tributing a gadget monster, it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If an ancient gear monster you control attacks your opponent's spell, if an ancient gear monster you control attacks, your opponent's spell and trap cards and monster effects cannot be activated to the end of the turn. So it's like I said before, it's a little bit of a boost from the regular ancient gear. Now this one covers including the old ancient gears. Let's say you have Hydra on the field and you have Golem on the side and you attack with Golem, not other than spells and traps won't work anymore, but including monster effects or hand traps like Ghost Ogre or Zodiac Tridents or stuff like that could activate during either player's turn during damage step, which could they chain. And the next card that we have, Ancient Gear Vibrant. It's the fourth new one. Level 4 Earth Machine type monster with 1700 attack and 1200 defense. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Ancient Gear card from your deck to your hand, except Ancient Gear Wyvern. Also, you cannot set cards for the rest of this turn. You can only use this effect of Ancient Gear Wyvern once per turn. In this card attack, your opponents cannot activate their effects until the end of the damage step. And I skipped that. I was trying to mean your opponent monsters. So it's in a way it's the Stratos of the deck, but other than just monsters, it could also add any Ancient Gear spell or trap card to your hand. So you could add Castle, you could add Workshop, you could add Spell Gear. No, not Spell Gear. You could add Castle, Workshop, Explosive, Catapult, a lot of Ancient Gear stuff. And then the next card, which is the new spell card that they have, is Ancient Gear Catapult. When you control no monster, you target one face-up card you control. Destroy it. If you do, you special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon one Ancient Gear token, which is an Earth Machine type level 1 monster with 0 attack and defense. You can only use the effect of Ancient Gear Catapult once per turn and only once that turn. So it has two effects. The first one, you control no monster, pop a face-up card you control. It gets destroyed and you special summon an Ancient Gear from your deck. The second one is you pop one face-up card you control from the grave and you special summon the token. Now you could do one or the other. You can't do both in one turn. And that's it for the 5 new cards that we get from Ancient Gears from this deck. And right now we're going to head in with a lot of reprints. So we're going to go with Ancient Gear Galvatron Dragon, Ancient Gear Golem, Ancient Gear Galvatron Chimera, Ancient Gear Beast, Ancient Gear Engineer, Ancient Gear Knight, Ancient Gear Soldier, 2 Ancient Gear Box, Gear Geiger, Planet Pathfinder, Minefield Driller, 2 Card Troopers, Gigantus, Boxer, Hardened Arm Dragon, Spell Striker, and one of the reprints that's a good reprint from this deck is Maxi. Even though it's limited to 1, now people could get it in common, just like Rescue Rabbit in the Dino deck. And that's it for the monsters. Now for the spells, we have this new spell for the Ancient Gears that came out from this deck called Ancient Gear Fortress. Now this card, what it does is during the turn they were normal or special summon, your opponent cannot target Ancient Gear monsters you control with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by your opponent card's effects either. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of any Ancient Gear cards and effects. This card is destroyed in your spell and trap zone. You can special summon one Ancient Gear monster from your hand or graveyard, and also you cannot special summon a monster for the rest of this turn except for Ancient Gear monsters. So it pretty much protects your ancient gear a little bit from summon. Bottomless, Cherryantro, stuff like that, including Book of Moon, especially Paleozoics too, which is a top deck right now. And then its secondary effect is if you pop it, you can special summon an ancient gear monster from your hand or graveyard, and it's a good bonus, especially during your opponent's turn, because you could chain it to something and pop it during your opponent's turn, especially summon a Golem or a Gachadron Dragon or something. We'll explain this later on in the deck profile. So other than that, we're going to continue with Ancient Gear Castle, Ancient Gear Workshop, Gear Town, Mausoleum of the Emperor, Spreadle Space, one other good card for machines, Limiter Remover, Machine Duplication, Infernal Reckless Summon, and another good reprint card, Galaxy Cyclone. And after that we have Terraforming, and that's it for the spells. And for the traps we have Jar of Avarice, Mischief of the Norms, Machine King 3K BC or 3000 BC, another good reprint which is Phoenix Chain, Call of the Haunted, their huge revolution is over, and last but not least we have an Ancient Gear token. And that's, oops, sorry, hit the tripod. And that's it for the deck opening and review of the Ancient Gears. This deck boosts up the Ancient Gear deck, which is an old archetype, and a lot, especially with the Ancient Gear gadget and the new Reactor Dragon and the Wyvern. Those cards would help out the Ancient Gear so fast, it will actually could keep up with the current meta. It also came out with good reprints like Galaxy Cyclone, Maxis, Phoenix Chain, and I mean other than that, it's a pretty good deck if you like Ancient Gears or machine types, or you like the archetype. Now a lot of people don't know how to play this deck, so we'll make a profile like I said in the beginning of the video to explain how this deck works out. So that's it for this deck review and opening. Thank you for viewing my video. Please give us a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment on what you'd like to see or what you like about this deck, or what you'd like us to post in the future, or just say a calmly hi. And like I always say, have fun.